Hello everybody, this is Blue coming at you from the Blue Mobile. Yeah, so here's the deal. I was recently, I'm not sure how to put this, pre-diagnosed with cancer. So I thought, maybe I'll start this vlog and kind of share the experience with you guys, and we'll see where it goes. So the first thing, I guess, a little bit about myself. I'm 56 years old. I was born in Boston, Massachusetts, and when I graduated high school, I joined the Army. And I was in the Army for 30 years. I just retired about 5 years ago. I'm a graduate of the Sergeant's Major Academy at Fort Bliss, Texas. After I retired, I went back to school, got my degree, bachelor's degree, and now I'm just everyday stiff working American. So medically, cancer runs in my family. I smoked since I was young. I quit smoking about maybe 10 years ago. I stopped for 6 years, and then I was deployed and I tried hookah, and I was hooked again. So I smoked hookah for a year and a half or so. It got to be a hassle, and then I ran into vaping, e-cigarettes, and I tried that, and it's so much, I want to say it's so much better, but I make my own juice. It still has nicotine in it. I vape 3%, but I don't cough and hack the way that I used to or anything crazy like that. I'm pretty physically fit. I put on some weight since I retired. Right now I'm about, I hover between 175 and 184 pounds. That doesn't sound like much, but I'm kind of a short guy, but I'm stocky. So, but no, I'm a little bit fat. But at 56, hey, what do you want? What else? I drink sometimes more than I should. I still vape. Even after my pre-diagnosis, I still vape, which in my mind, it's probably my addiction saying, don't worry about it. If it's not cancer, good. If it is, well, it's too late to change it now anyway, so just keep vaping, right? Because that's what addictions do to you. So long story short, today is the 26th of August. It's Monday. Let me go back from the start. About maybe 11th of June, I think it was, I had a sore throat for, at that point, about a week and a half, and I'm like, man, this thing ain't going away. Shortly after that, I was going away for a week or so on a business trip, and so I pinged my primary physician with the VA. I'm a disabled veteran. I'm over the threshold, so all of my medical is free with the VA. If you're under that threshold, the only thing that's free from the VA is the things that are service connected. In other words, injuries or illness that happen, that are documented and approved by the VA, that happen while you're in the service. But once you get to that threshold, I think it's 40%. Above 40%, then all of your health care will be taken care of by the VA. So I'm over 40%. So I pinged my primary care provider through My Healthy Vet, which is the VA's website, and I said, hey, look, doc, I think I have an infection in my right tonsil. That's the area of concern right now. And can you give me a prescription for some antibiotics? Well, nobody answered. And usually they answer like that day. Nobody answered. A couple days later, I pinged them again, same email, hey, doc, I'm going out of town. And finally, I ended up calling, and they were like, no, the doc can't give you a prescription like that over, email, over messaging. You have to come in and be seen. When can I be seen? And it was like while I was on the road. So I said, no problem. So I called my civilian doc, which I have TRICARE as well. That's my civilian medical, which I pay for annually. It's an annual fee. And so I called my doc, my civilian doctor, as I was seen like the next day. He gave me a prescription for antibiotic. I took the whole regimen of that. I did my trip. Came back from that. My throat was still sore. So I went back to see my doc again. He gave me a regimen of anti-inflammatory and some Flonase and some other stuff to kind of dry it out, right? Went on another trip. Came back. It was still messed up. And this time, now it's starting to like wake me up when I'm sleeping. It's getting hard to swallow, like worse than normal. It's really kind of getting on my nerves. So I call my civilian doc again. They get me right in. I see the PA this time, and she's like, "Yep, we're gonna switch you up to a different, more aggressive antibiotic." Did that, gave me that stuff. I went out traveling again, and this time when I was on the road, I have an electric toothbrush, and I brush my tongue, right? I don't know if everybody does that, but I do, and I tend to go sometimes like too far down my throat, so where the gag reflex kicks in. If you brush your tongue, you know what I'm talking about, right? So that happened, and I was like, yeah, I had a weird taste, so I spit out, and I spit out blood. So I thought, holy crap, now this we're going to the next level here, So I went back to my civilian doc the 4th time, and this was about a week and a half from the time she gave me the last antibiotic to the time I seen her this 4th time. So it's 2 times at my doc, 2 times at the PA. The 4th time, second time at the PA, she looked at my throat. She's like, yeah, I think I need to give you a stat referral to ENT. I'm like, what's going on? She's like, well, this thing is bigger than it was the last time I just seen you. And I'm like, okay. And I thought to myself, that's kind of weird, right? Like 2 rounds of antibiotics and it's got worse. In the back of my mind, I'm like, they were telling me and kind of treating it like an infection, right? But that doesn't sound like an infection. But I was like, whatever, So we'll see what ENT says. They're probably going to want to say, yeah, you have to have them removed. Because I have a history of tonsil issues. This right one's been swollen almost my whole life. Like it's just a little bump, right? I've had ear infections and stuff. And right now, the pain is in my ear and in my tonsil, which is kind of normal because you have a eustachian tube that runs from both sides of your throat up to your inner ear. So when your ears pop in an airplane, that's what it is. That's that tube equalizing the pressure between your throat and your ear via that tube. So I figured that's all normal. So that was like a Monday, I think. Monday? No, last Tuesday. So she's like, I'm going to give you a stat referral for ENT. So I'm like, okay. So Wednesday morning, I wake up at like 6:37. I felt like crap. It wasn't because of my throat. It was because I'd been drinking the night before, to be honest with you. I had too many beers. And I called work. There was nothing going on. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to be in late. Go back to sleep. Phone rings at 9 o'clock. It's the ENT. I'm like, hey, we can see you right away. And I'm like, whoa, like you just woke me up. Like I just woke up. And like, well, we recommend you get in here ASAP because these appointments, this doesn't happen. Like it's difficult to get in here. I said, well, when can you get me in next? And they were like, 7 September or something like that. So I'm like, you know what? I'm on the way. So jumped up, got ready. My doc sent me to the wrong place. The ENT sent me to the other office across town. But long story short, going there, Dr. Lisa is there. She's an old Air Force vet, so we kind of hit it off. She's an Air Force officer, a doc in the Air Force. And she's poignant, man. I mean, she wasn't playing games. She was like, hey, not much of a personality. Forgive me, Dr. Lisa, if you see this. I'm sorry, but it's true. But I appreciate it. She put some spray stuff up my nose. She took one of these big long things. If you've ever done maintenance and you lose a bolt down in the frame of a vehicle, you take that magnetic thing to get in there. That's what it looked like. Guys, you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, this is smaller, and it had a light and a camera on the end. And right in front of me was a 17-inch like monitor. So she puts this thing in my throat, and I can see it like going down my nose and my throat. And I asked her, hey, can I film this? Like, this is cool. And she's like, no. I don't want the ambulance chases coming at me right after me, so I'm like, cool. But anyway, she checks out both my tonsils. She asked me to say E, and if you say E, you can feel something open up in the center of your throat, right? Apparently, it's your voice box. She can see that, and so the good news is she said that and all the surrounding tissue in the center of my throat looked good. And then she gave me a quick exam, and then she told me to open wide, and she literally reached like her fingers like down my throat and was squeezing my tonsil. And then she's like, hey, okay, so here's the deal. I'm pretty sure you got cancer. And I was like, well, what? She's like, yeah, you got the big C. Like, what do you mean? So, well, your tonsil is like has texture, like it's hard, and that tells me that there is a tumor in there. So what she wrote on her referral to the cancer doc was a malignant neoplasm. So apparently neoplasm, I did a little research, all it means is a mass. And if I'm wrong, you medical guys, let me know in the comments section. But anyway, so I'm like, okay, well that sucks. What does that mean? What's going to happen next or whatever? And she's like, well, chances are they're going to take the tonsil out and any surrounding tissue. They don't want to take a chance of anything staying there. She's like, one good thing is that I'm going to recommend in my referral that you go to a robotic cancer surgeon, because apparently, so you can imagine, right? You're trying to get some tissue out of your throat and the tonsil and the surrounding area, and you have these meat hooks in there and scalpels and everything else, right? Not good, no bueno. But if you have little robotics in there, snip, 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 now you can reduce the trauma to the surrounding area, right? So I'm like, oh, cool, that makes sense, So she gave me two options. These are the kind of local docs or teams that do that, and I selected one, and yeah, we went and rocked that out, and she sent the referral in. She had to go back to my civilian doc and some other stuff. But so the bottom line up front is my throat's drying out right now just thinking about this. Feels like it's gotten worse since I found all this out last Wednesday. But anyway, so I'm scheduled for this Wednesday at like 1:30 to go meet my Dr. Raffi. Dr. Raff, my cancer head, nose, and throat surgeon. So that's my initial referral, I think they call it. And I don't know if they're going to take a biopsy then or what's going to happen, but yeah, here it is. I'm in high spirits. I'm kind of freaking out right now, not only because they're telling me I got the big C, and in my mind it's not verified yet, right? Like I trust Dr. Lisa, but I want empirical data, right? I want a sample on a slide and a qualified dude or dudette looking at it and saying, yep, that's what it is, or not. But I haven't even told my family. I haven't mentioned this to anyone, not my work, not my family, nobody. You're the first ones to even know ahead of my wife. The reason is I don't want her to freak out. I mean, if it's nothing, then hey, it's all good, no harm, no foul. I'll disclose to her that I had a little scare, right? If I tell her right now, she's gonna flip out. And I don't want that. I don't want that. And I don't want pity from anybody. I don't want any pity from you guys either. Hey, I'm strong. I feel good. I'm going to look this thing in the eyes and I'm going to fight it. And we'll just see what happens. But anyways, welcome to my channel. I hope you guys continue to follow me. I'll do these as I get information. I'm not going to go crazy and try and do one every day, but we'll see how it goes, all right? So anyway, this is Blue. Talk to you soon. See ya.